All right. Let's talk about a car that's, well, it's more like an icon, right? The Ferrari 250 GTO. And we're going deep on this one. Not just the specs, though. Those are impressive, but the whole story, the legend, the millions it's worth now.
What gets me about the 250 GTO is it wasn't like Ferrari reinvented the wheel or something. They took what already made their cars great, but they, like, amplified it.
Yeah, our research mentions the 250 GT SWB, gorgeous car on its own. Yeah. That was the foundation. But then they went and threw in some DNA from the 250 Testarossa pure race car. That's going to be where things get interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine, right, the engineers are huddled together and they're like, okay, we've got this sleek SWB chassis. Let's drop in the Testarosa's V12 engine, a 3-liter, 300-horsepower beast. Back in the early 60s, that was almost unheard of, having that kind of power in a car meant for both the road and the track.
So they basically, Frankenstein a supercar. I did read that Giotto Bizzarini, a real engineering whiz, was the one who came up with it.
He was the initial spark, definitely. But Bizzarini, he was, how do I put this? A strong personality. Let's just say he and Enzo Ferrari, they didn't always see eye to eye. So Bizzarini's time on the project was cut short.
Classic Clash of the Titans, huh? Even genius has to answer to someone. But the 250 GTO, it didn't just die on the drawing board, did it?
Not a chance. That's when Mauro Forghieri and the legendary designer Sergio Scaglietti stepped in. They took Bizzarini's, shall we say, ambitious ideas, and instead of just, bolting things together, they refined them. Every single detail, meticulously hand-built.
So craftsmanship over chaos. I like it. That makes sense. With what little I know about these cars, they're works of art.
Yeah.
But they also pushed the technical boundaries, did they? Like, this wasn't just about looking pretty.
Oh, absolutely. For example, the 5-speed gearbox. I mean, today that's standard. But back then, most high-performance cars were still using 4 speeds. The 250 GTO's gearbox, it was a game changer. Smoother, faster gear changes, which let the driver use every bit of that V12 power.
They gave it a brain to match the brawn. Okay, but I'm going to be honest. The first thing that gets me about the 250 GTO, it's got to be the looks. That design, it just flows. It's iconic.
And it's not just about aesthetics. Ferrari, they were really ahead of their time. They used wind tunnel testing to shape the 250 GTO. This was practically unheard of back in the early 60s. I mean, they were analyzing airflow, minimizing drag, maximizing downforce, all to get the absolute best performance out of that design.
So not just a pretty face, it's aerodynamically brilliant. Okay, now I'm starting to get why this thing is worth millions. But being beautiful, being smart, that only gets you so far right. How did the 250 GTO actually perform on the track?
Well, let's just say it performed as good as it looked. And it looked amazing, by the way. This wasn't some garage queen. This was a beast on the track.
Okay, give me the rundown. Did it live up to all that hype?
Oh, it surpassed it. Its first race, the 12 Hours of Sebring in '62, it took second place. And that was just the beginning. We're talking wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, podium finishes left and right. Get this. 3 world championships in GT racing, back to back to back.
A dynasty. Three-peat. Hearing that, it's no surprise this thing is worth a fortune. It's racing history right there.
It's true. The 250 GTO's dominance on the track, it didn't just win trophies, it built this whole legend. And legends, well, they command high prices. But here's the thing that people often forget. This was a time when front-engine cars, they were starting to be, I guess you could say, outmatched by newer mid-engine designs.
Hold on. Back up a sec. Explain that to me. What's the difference and why did it matter so much?
Yeah. Think of the car's engine like it's the heart, right? Front engine, it's up front, like your everyday car. Mid-engine, that engine's closer to the middle, more like a modern supercar. This change, putting the engine in the middle, it was a big deal for how the car handled, how balanced it was on the track. And in racing, that's everything.
So the 250 GTO, even with its engine up front, it could still keep up with these new kids on the block. That's really saying something.
Exactly. It's a testament to how well it was engineered. The 250 GTO was famous for being balanced. It could be a monster on the track, don't get me wrong, powerful, agile, but then you could still, kind of sort of drive it on normal roads. That was rare, especially back then.
The best of both worlds, huh? Okay, now I'm curious, thinking about the people who bought these cars back in the day. This is the 60s, right? How much would a masterpiece like this set you back?
Okay, so imagine this, right? Back in the early 60s, a brand new Ferrari 250 GTO, it would set you back, get this, $18,000.
$18,000. I mean, these days you can't even, I don't know, get a decent used car for that sometimes. Okay, different times, sure. But still, I guess even back then you had to be, doing pretty well to even think about earning a Ferrari.
Oh, it was more than just the money even.
Yep.
Enzo Ferrari, he was while he was known for being picky about who he sold his cars to, it wasn't just about moving metal, you know. It was like he was building this exclusive club. You had to be someone he saw as, like, worthy of the car, someone who understood what it represented.
It was an honor just to buy one,
Yeah.
practically. Okay, so let's jump ahead a few decades. When did the 250 GTO go from, like, expensive sports car to, holy grail, gotta have an automotive investment?
That change really started happening in the 70s. People started to look at classic cars differently, not just old cars, but like assets that could increase in value, rolling pieces of art. And the 250 GTO, with the looks, the rarity, and that racing history we talked about, it became the ultimate example of that.
It's like they say they aren't making any more land. Well, they weren't making any more 250 GTOs either. Only 36 ever built. The few, the proud, the owners, they must realize they had something really special.
And then in 1988, something big happened. Enzo Ferrari died.
The end of an era. I can see how that would impact, well, everything Ferrari.
It was huge. Anything that had that Enzo Ferrari connection, the value just shot up. And the 250 GTO, already a legend, it became even more desirable, a connection to the man himself, you know.
All right. Enough with the buildup. What are we talking numbers-wise? Did that $18,000 investment turn into, like, a nice little nest egg?
More like never work another day in your life kind of money. By the late 80s, a 250 GTO, you're looking at around $9 million. And it didn't stop there. In 2013, one went for, are you ready for this? $52 million.
Okay, that's just, yeah, wow. But it begs the question, why? Why is this car worth so much? Is it just that they're so rare?
Rarity is a big part of it, for sure.
Yeah.
Supply and demand, right? But the 250 GTO is more than just a rare item. It represents, like, the peak of what cars can be. Beautiful to look at, incredible engineering, amazing performance, all in one package. It takes you back to a time when cars were more than just, you know, getting you from point A to point B. They were art, passion, all that.
So we've got this perfect storm, right? Gorgeous, powerful, raced in one, the Enzo Ferrari mystique. And of course, there are more billionaires than there are 250 GTOs out there. No wonder the price tag is basically if you have to ask.
Exactly. Plus, you can't forget that emotional element. This car, it represents a time when things were built by hand, when driving was, I don't know, more romantic. For collectors, it's not just owning a car, it's owning a legend, a piece of history.
You've really painted a picture here. So there you have it, the Ferrari 250 GTO. More than just a car, a work of art, a historical artifact, and, yeah, a pretty penny to own. It really shows you what humans can do with enough ingenuity, passion, and, I guess, a need for speed. What about you listening? What's something out there that captures that same magic for you? That blend of beauty, history, the I can't believe that exists factor? Let us know. Until next time, keep exploring.